Hi, beautiful people. You're welcome back to Prudy's Kitchen. Today, we're making some savory donuts filled with beef and veggies. So good. If you're new here, you're welcome. Thank you so much for coming. And please don't forget to subscribe and like and share. And also click the notification bell. Okay? And if you're a returning subscriber, I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. So without wasting time, let's get into the video. First, we're going to make our dough, okay? And for this, we need 400 grams of all-purpose flour, one large boiled potato, one egg yolk at room temperature, for 14 grams of yeast. You can use the dry one. 30 ml of vegetable oil, 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, 200 ml of milk, and 1 teaspoon of salt. I'll separate my egg right now because for this recipe, I need just one egg yolk, okay? And please make sure the egg is at room temperature. So I don't need the egg white. I'm going to discard it and use the egg yolk. Next, I will mash my potato, okay? I'm mashing my potato right now. Before you even start this recipe, when you're about to do it, please boil one large potato or two small ones, okay? And let it cool down before you start. So now into the bowl of my stand mixer, I added my milk, my vegetable oil, egg yolk, sugar, potato, and yeast, okay? I basically added everything, every ingredient for this recipe, for this dough into the stand mixer right now, except the flour and the salt, okay? So I added every other thing and started mixing it. With my dough hook, I mixed it for about 2 minutes, okay, until it was just well combined. That's the essence of it, just to combine it all well. And then I added my flour and my salt to it and started and continued mixing. And please remember, even though the milk is warm too, okay, nothing has to be hot, but warm. Everything has to be warm. The egg and the milk has to be warm. So right now I'm adding my salt and I'll go ahead and mix it, okay? You can totally do this by hand, okay? Mix the wet ingredients with a whisk, and then you knead the dough by hand. But this is a very wet dough, so it's gonna be very sticky and messy, okay? So if you want to do it by hand, it's better you use a hand glove or something. So I continued mixing until everything was well incorporated. The dough was smooth and of course very sticky. In a bowl, I put about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, rubbed it around it, and put my dough inside it, okay? I oiled my fingers as well because it's a very sticky dough. That's what you're looking for, smooth and sticky. If you're doing it with your hands, please, you have to knead it for a very long time, like let's say 10 minutes to get that smooth, sticky dough that you need. So that's exactly what we're looking for, soft and stretchy. So I put it in the bowl, rubbed the oil around it, covered it with a cling film, and set it to rise in a warm place for about an hour and a half, okay? So while it's rising, let's go ahead and make our filling. For the filling, we need some olive oil, 500 grams of steak, about 100 grams of white cabbage. You can use a different kind of cabbage if you like, but this is good, okay? Then we need 2 onions and 2 carrots. Yeah, I already cleaned them. About 150 grams of sweet corn, 1 boiled potato, some basilicum leaves, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of paprika powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt, or let's say half a teaspoon of salt, not too much. I'm going to prepare the meat right now. First, I cut off every excess fat on it. If you like the fat, you can leave it on, but I don't want it, okay? So, then I cut it into thin slices like this because you don't want big chunks of meat in your donuts. That won't be good, okay? Next, I poured the spices over it and mixed it very well. So after mixing it, I'm going to set it aside to marinate for about 10 to 15 minutes, okay? While I prep the other veggies. I'm done with the meat right now. So next I'll cut my carrot, my onions, and my white cabbage. Okay, and I'll see you right there. Everything is set right now. Next, I put my frying pan on the heat, added about 2 tablespoons of olive oil and the meat into it, okay? So I spread out my meat right there and let it cook for about 5 minutes or until it was soft and golden brown. The meat is done right now. So I'll add my veggies and let it cook for about let's say 1 minute, because I don't want the carrot and the white cabbage to be soggy. Okay, I added everything, the soy sauce, and then I chopped up the basilicum leaves and let it simmer, just let's say about just 1 minute. Okay, and then I put the potato into it. I mashed it up, okay, because the potato here is like a binder. Okay, it holds them together. That's why you actually need it, but you can skip it too if you want. It doesn't really matter. Okay, if you don't want the potatoes, you just want the meat and the veggies, it's good too. You can skip it. So I turned it around, let it cook for, let's say, about a minute, not too much, so that the veggies don't get soggy, and turned off the heat. So right now, I'll go ahead and cut up the papers, okay? With a baking sheet, with a baking paper, I'll cut it up into little squares, okay? This is where we're going to rest the dough the filled doughnuts, when we have done filling them up, okay, so that it's easy to dump into the oil. Because if we do it without cutting it up, it's going to be difficult to put it in the oil. So right here, my dough, this is 1 hour 30 minutes later, my dough has finished rising. So I oiled my hands, deflated my dough, oiled my work surface. So what I'll do right now is I'll take a bit of the dough, a piece of the dough, about 80 grams, open it right up on my work surface and fill it with the filling, and then pinch it close, okay? If you're doing this, you don't have to spread it too flat, okay? It has to be thick a bit because the dough is very soft. It's easy to handle, but it's very soft. So if you make it too thin, it's going to break apart. So right now, I pinched it all the way through, closed it, try to shapen it a bit. You make the shape you want. You could make it round or however you want it. And that's it. And right now, I put it on the baking paper that I cut. Okay. So I will do that to all of them and line them up in my baking tray. Okay. And after lining them up in the baking tray, I'll let it rise for about 30 minutes. Okay. Then I'll start frying them. I'm done filling my donuts right now, and this is 30 minutes later. It has rested, okay, and it has risen. You can see it's a bit fluffy, so it's time to fry. So I put my deep fryer right now on medium heat, okay? If you're using a pot, same thing, put it on medium heat so that it doesn't burn fast, okay? It needs a bit of time. It has to cook slowly so that the dough has time to rise and to cook, and not to burn outside without cooking inside. So I put 4 at a time so that it doesn't stick together, okay? And next, while it's cooking, I'm scooping some of that hot oil on it, okay? It helps it not to break apart too. So It took about let's say 5 minutes, okay, to cook both sides. Okay, so it doesn't take too long. So once it's golden brown, it's done. It's done. And already you can perceive the aroma of that pillowy goodness. Like when you bite into it, you can feel that soft donut in your mouth with that savory feeling of steak and corn and all the veggies. It's so good, really. I want to give you guys a close up of this juicy inside and soft, pillowy goodness outside. Okay, and then I'll take a test. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Okay, and I'll see you next time. Bye.